What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, going to be breaking down the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. 37 points in primetime versus the New York Jets. Most points in a game for Pittsburgh since November of 2021. Really excited to break down just a dozen or so of kind of my favorite plays, highlighting how they pulled it off, highlighting specific player performances, scheme stuff, really digging deep into the film. This was a really fun one to kind of go back and watch. So just before we get started, please make sure that you like, subscribe, drop me a comment, just as an easy way to help support the channel's growth. I sincerely appreciate it. Let's ride. All right, next play here we're going to go over. This is in the second quarter. A little bit of a slow start for the Steelers offense, but got going here. Wanted to kind of talk through this thing for a couple different reasons. So on first down here, the Steelers are going to get 4 yards on a mid-zone play to the weak side. It's a play that we talked about a lot in the preview. It's one of Arthur Smith's favorite rushing concepts. Very next play, they're going to come back and fake this thing because the edge defender on the opposite side was kind of crashing down a little bit hard. You want to take advantage of his aggressiveness, and then you're going to get Darnell Washington into the flat for an explosive play off basically a 1 to 2 yard pass. You're getting a lot of yards after catch here. So one of the things I like about this is, one, it shows good play sequencing, just understanding like if the defense is over pursuing to some of these zone runs, you want to make sure to bring the attention back to the other side of the field. But also just creating easy plays and easy completions for a quarterback that hasn't played, since December. I think it was important, it's kind of like a shooter in basketball. You see a couple go through the net, it gives you a little bit of confidence, helps you get into a little bit of a rhythm. And I think that that's what they saw really with Russ after that big completion to Pickens. He just saw a couple go through the net, gave him some confidence, and, he started playing at a higher level. And another thing with this, too, is, Darnell Washington, a lot of people, I always see comments about, like, why they don't throw him the ball more, this and that. It's this good design right here. They're going to have him fake block this edge defender on the backside. The Jets are playing quarters. They don't have a player in the flat over here. So it's a good job just to get him the ball. And then this is kind of a deer in the headlights look from the Jets defenders. I mean, nobody's going to want to come up and tackle a guy who's 6'7", 300 pounds in space. So that's just an excellent play. Again, it's just an easy way to manufacture yards and easy completions for your quarterback. All right, next play here, get a good drive starter off this play action bootleg to Freiermuth in the flat. Just working a play action flood concept to the left side of the field. I want to kind of talk through the schematic element of this, but also like why I like this for a couple different reasons. One, anytime you get these play actions, you're trying to mess with the eyes of the second level defenders. Basically, you're getting all 3 Steelers receivers working to the left side of the field. You're going to have a deep route, kind of this deep corner, and then you're going to have Pickens on the over and then Freiermuth to the flat. This is a really nice job. You can see how the zone run fake gets 44's eyes here. His eyes are peeking into the backfield. Doesn't necessarily see Freiermuth leaking into the flat. We get a good leverage advantage right there. But got to show some love to my boy 14 right here. All right. A lot of effort questions over the first 6 weeks of the season. He was laser focused in this one. Haven't seen him like this in a long time. It was awesome. Like this play right here is being a selfless teammate. Look at this double whammy. Puts his body in front, doesn't pick up a penalty, body in front, double whammy. That's fantastic. And again, just getting the ball into your best playmaker's hands. For my money, I think 88 is probably their best yards after catch guy. Led them in yards after catch a couple years ago. Again, just theme of the video. Make these defensive backs tackle. And again, you get some of these bigger bodied guys. Pat's a 250-pound guy. Get him out in space, force the Jets defenders to tackle him. Again, this is an easy completion that creates a 30-yard play, right? But I wanted to kind of talk through the quarterback fundamentals too, because I think this is really outstanding from Russ and one of my favorite plays from him. So basically all this is like GH counter. Or GY counter, excuse me. So good play make fundamentals right here. You can see him peek back with the hand tight to try to force that defense to really respect the fake. Now, anytime you turn around on these like naked keepers where you don't have anybody protecting the backside edge defender, you got to be prepared for what could potentially happen if this dude is in your lap. So you got to be prepared for disaster. You've either got to make sure that you throw this ball away. You don't want this thing to turn into a fumble or anything like that. But a really nice job by Russ just contorting his body quickly around, snapping his hips, and then kind of dropping his arm slot a little bit, and delivers a really accurate football to Freiermuth to kind of maximize that yards after catch opportunity. But again, just appreciate the block here from Pickens. I want to highlight this because this is the kind of stuff that gets me really excited. When guys do this stuff for their teammates, this is how you create explosive plays and how you score, 37 points. That's awesome. All right, next play here, 2nd 7. This is like 40 seconds left right before the half. deep shot to George Pickens one-on-one. Anytime you get middle field closed, post field safety, press coverage, I'm good with taking a shot to 14. Just especially when he's already made one spectacular catch in this game. You want to go back to him. The ball is a little bit underthrown, but I do think that Russ does a good job, peeking the left side of the field to make sure that post safety can't get over the top. Draws a penalty flag. That's just as good as a completion. I'm really just showing this for one main reason. We got to check out Calvin Austin down here, the number 2 at the bottom of the screen. Completely gaps this nickel defender. Little A-step release, inside, can't even touch him. I'm telling you, man, we're getting really close. It would not surprise me in the next week or two if Calvin breaks like another long touchdown, because he's been open. He's beating man coverage at a much higher rate than he was last season. He looks sharper as a route runner, understanding how to manipulate defenders, been better versus press. I really think that things are close to kind of coming together for him, and Pickens almost makes this play through the contact, which is just excellent. But again, pass interference penalty, that's still a good thing. All right, after halftime right here, going to motion Jaylen Warren back into the backfield. Going to get into a 3-by-1 condensed formation. The linebacker follows him back, so we know we're getting some type of man coverage. The Jets are a big man coverage team on third down. One good way to kind of get open versus man, use bunch formations. Seen a little bit more of this. I've been wanting to see more of this within the offense, especially as you're still searching for these complementary playmakers to step up in the receiving game. It's a really good job here because the Steelers used this kind of formation, this 3-by-1 condensed bunch, a couple different times. The first time they used it, they had Pickens run an option route on third down. Really nice job here by Pickens just playing through contact. Looked like he got a little hands to the face that went uncalled right here. But all we're getting here is we're just getting a bunch of runaways versus man coverage. And this is really exactly what you see. Forces them to pass off and kind of communicate within the third level of the defense who's kind of taking who. You can see Calvin Austin on this underneath crosser. He's got a little bit of separation. So if Russ wants that, we've got that on 3rd and 7. And then, we're getting Pickens, does a good job playing through contact. See the burst. This is wide open in the NFL. You can see the separation ability right there. And this, just the concentration, obviously, is a huge thing here. With Pickens, these types of catches he makes look routine, especially like when he's locked in, man. There are very few players in the NFL that can do the things that he can do. But ball's left a little bit short. But again, this is why you have number 1 wide receivers. They go make plays for the quarterback. Again, just kind of slowing down the concentration aspect of this thing. It's just extremely impressive, man. But I love the offensive design to get him open, to know that, this is the way that Russ likes to attack too. So if you're going to get into these drawback situations, Russ likes to throw the deep ball, and he likes to throw outside the numbers. So what are ways that we can call offensive plays to make it to where, he can get these open throws, these opportunities, especially when teams are willing to play like man coverage like this on your best receiver. It's an awesome play. All right, so we just talked about it. 3rd down, got to expect some type of man coverage, some type of post safety. This time the Jets are going to bring a little bit of pressure. Got to make sure that we can block it up. But a good way to attack press man coverage, let's take some shots down the field, utilize some pick plays to try to get the football in the hands of our best playmakers. Really like this concept just because I think it leans into the things that Russ does really well. Throw the ball outside the numbers, throw the ball down the field. Basically, what you're going to have here is the outside receiver is just going to run like a spot route. But really what they're trying to do is just kind of rub shoulders with whoever is guarding the slot player, trying to create that nice little pick. Looks like Freiermuth might have gotten his jersey tugged a little bit, but an outstanding catch. But, just to kind of talk through this thing, this is kind of a pick a side type of thing. You're just going to look and see, okay, which side do I like? Now, look at where the post safety is, okay? He's like, teams have been doing this for weeks when they've been playing man coverage against the Steelers. The post safety is going to be shaded towards 14. And also, like at the top of the screen, with those corners playing on the same level, so you can see how they're playing it differently from the Jets' perspective at the top compared to the bottom. When they're playing on the same level like that, these pick plays are money because they're really difficult to defend. They're difficult to see coming. That's why you want your defensive backs playing on different levels like that. But this is an excellent play design. 3rd and 5, this is having very good answers and giving your quarterback very good answers for the type of coverage that you're going to see. Want to look at the catch really quick right here by Pat. I mean, that's just outstanding. It's good ball location, too. These over-the-shoulder type of throws. I think these high-arcing loft throws are kind of what people have associated with Russ's game for a long time. I would be remiss if I did not point out the pass protection element of this. So we're getting a four-person slide here. You can see the hand signals from the offensive line here. We're going to four-person slide this thing to the left and going to ask Jaylen Warren to come in, stonewall this linebacker. I mean, this is outstanding stuff right here. Every team wants a running back that can do that kind of stuff. So, like, you understand, if, like, you're ever curious about, like, why the Steelers love Jaylen Warren and why, like, you know, he's become such an integral part of this offense, this type of pass protection, being able to stonewall linebackers and give your quarterback a pretty pocket to throw from against the blitz, that's outstanding stuff. And, again, another, you know, example of being a selfless teammate and doing the things that are necessary to score, you know, 37 points. Excellent catch, excellent play. You know, speaking of Jaylen, I thought that this was by far the most explosive and that he's looked all season long. Watching him run the ball this week, it looked more like the Jaylen Warren that I'm accustomed to seeing in a Steelers uniform right here. So basically the Steelers are going to be running, this is 2 tight ends, so 22 personnel essentially. They're going to check into an outside zone play. Now, we've already talked about this dude a couple different times, but 54, we know he likes to shoot the gap. This is excellent vision from Warren. You see him take his first step on that outside zone or maybe mid-zone track. We'll see. But you can see 54 gets upfield. 66 isn't quite able to get that reach, but it's okay because, like, look at the cutback lane that we've got right here. And this is just an example of a back understanding the intent of the play and getting downhill with quickness. You can see 57, he can't fall back into his gap because Warren hits the hole so quick and gets upfield. And like I said, I think that this play really showed to me that, you know, he was really close to being back to what we're accustomed to seeing. I think it's going to help take the Steelers' run game to a completely different level because you have that kind of 1-2 punch between him and Najee Harris. And again, just look at how decisive he is. Right here, you see that color flash, that white jersey flash, cut it back, bends it back. Broderick Jones climbing to the second level, just run off his back. It's excellent, man. Excellent. C.J. Mosley's a really good player, but even he can't really grab him right there. It's a nice run to set him up in really nice scoring position. You know, Warren didn't have statistically the biggest day, but there was a reason why I pointed his performance out in terms of being one of the biggest winners and one of the biggest reasons that they won this ball game because I thought he made several just crucial plays for them in this one. So here's that same formation we talked about earlier, 3-by-1 bunch condensed. The Steelers, it looks like they're probably expecting some sort of man coverage. They get quarters from the Jets on this play. Russell Wilson gets pressure pretty much immediately. Will McDonald beats Broderick Jones inside with a spin move. Kind of forces him off platform a little bit. But really nice job by Russ, you know, finding his outlet. This is 3rd and 8 of a one-score game. So I think it's like 23-15 at this point in time, late in the third quarter. The Jets had moved the ball on the prior drive, getting back into field goal range. They get the field goal blocked. But this is a fantastic play on multiple different levels. You can kind of see the pass protection element of this. Jones gets beat inside by the swim move, forces Wilson off his spot, tries to find the check down. But right here, like making this type of spin move to make 2 guys miss, spin back to the inside is outstanding. But I really want to point this out too. Look at 14. Don't want to block again after the catch, blocking for his teammates down the field. I mean, he's bringing some power to this thing. He's trying to thump this dude. Excellent play on 3rd and long. This is the type of stuff that I would love. Like if we could get this version of George Pickens all the time, like not just the circus catches, but just him locked in, blocking like this on a play-by-play basis, the Steelers offense is going to go to a completely different level. But I thought that he made a couple plays like this that don't necessarily show up in the stat sheet, but are huge just in terms of determining the outcome of the game. It's just great to see. All right, 4th quarter of the ball game. Time to bring in the closer. Mentioned this a little bit on Twitter, posted some numbers out, but, you know, Najee Harris so far this season, you know, in the first quarter of games, he averages 3.1 yards per carry. We get to the 4th quarter, that skyrockets up to 4.7. We've already seen him close out several games this season just because, you know, as the game gets going, he seems to get stronger and stronger. And obviously the offensive line deserves some love there as well, but just like it seems like he really hits his stride at this point in the game. And again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but check the bottom of the screen. Pickens, pancake, puts the dude on his back. I mean, I love it. I don't know what got into him in this game, but it absolutely his best game of the season. Just all around. Just all this play is, to me, this just looks like another trap play. So trying to take advantage of the over-aggressiveness of this Jets front. This is a really difficult block by Mason McCormick, in my opinion, as well. Obviously, a spectacular run by Najee, and we can kind of talk about his play on this one as well. But really, they're just trying to trap Quinnen Williams, number 95. So you can see we're blocking down, trying to get more up to the linebacker right here. But because Williams doesn't necessarily get upfield, this run ends up hitting a little bit differently. He kind of squeezes down to try to follow Seumalo's path, but this is a log technique, so he, instead of blocking him, I would think that most of the time this run probably hits off of his backside. He kind of has to adjust his course kind of midway through his pull, which is a really good job. This takes a lot of reps, and he was really excellent at this coming out of college. But it's a really good block to open up a hole. And you can see Najee, he's trying to get downhill as fast as possible, trying to hit this thing as quick as possible. What I like right here is just showing a little bit of patience as he gets through the line and setting this defender up. So, we've got a decent hole right here to run through. We got more on the seal to the second level right here, so he could easily cut this thing up. But what I like about this is because his shoulders are still pretty square, that cornerback on the outside, he doesn't know, like, is he going to cut this thing back? Is he going to bounce it outside? It's a sweet cut by Najee. Again, it just goes back to the theme, like stuff we talked about, but just make these defensive backs tackle, especially in the fourth quarter when you're like in a tight game like this. Attrition starts to set in a lot. Again, just look at the cut here. Whoop. That's pretty sweet, man. Najee looks pretty explosive this year. I think he's broken off even more explosive runs than he has last year. Again, sweet cut right there. Make another guy miss. Again, he's on his feet at the end of a lot of these runs, man. Like, I just think that you can tell by the demeanor of defenders that they don't really want to tackle this dude once the game gets into the fourth quarter. All right, next play here. One of the things that I've really wanted to see from the Steelers offense, utilize a little bit more motion, try to give your quarterback some easy answers. Right here, it looks like Wilson actually checks into this play, maybe coming to the line of scrimmage with two, checking into this thing after they see, the defender follow Van Jefferson in motion. It's 3rd and 4, low red zone. You're probably going to get some sort of man coverage. The Jets are trying to banjo this thing on the outside, so basically they're just playing in and out on the number 1 and number 2 wide receivers, but they don't pass it off correctly. And this is like some of the things that you can do when you know what the defense is going to give you. This is an awesome job from Pickens. You see the helmet tap right here. It's a little check. And then he's going to stem this thing inside almost towards the slot corner. The slot's playing inside leverage. He's expecting the first in breaker. The outside corner is supposed to take the first out breaker. Well, what happens if you get 2 out breakers? So you get this kind of quick speed out, and then you get the corner from Pickens. Basically, all he's got to do is just make sure that he rubs shoulders with this guy, get a little bit of a pick or a rub, wide open touchdown, easy completion. That's really was the theme of the night. I thought the offense was really well executed and well designed. I thought that this was probably the best game that I've seen Arthur Smith call since he was the Steelers offensive coordinator for multiple different reasons. Obviously, they had a number of wide open receivers, which helps, and it's easy to tell that on the broadcast. But I just thought that there was a level of intentionality on how the players were being deployed, which was really good. So right here, again, leaning into play action, throwing the ball down the field, stuff that Russ has done well throughout his career, like dating back to his Seattle days. But what I like about this is using a stack at the bottom of the screen, trying to get Calvin Austin off the ball. So, again, the Jets, this is a 2-score game. We're trying to put this thing away. They've been playing a lot of man coverage. So how can we get Calvin Austin open down the field to make sure, like, okay, he's got Sauce Gardner on him one-on-one. We put him at the foot of the stack, make sure that he can't get pressed. Now watch just the route combination at the bottom of the screen. So you're going to get Pickens kind of running vertically. Calvin Austin's basically step for step with him. And he's going to run a deep crosser. And again, they just don't pass it off defensively. Sauce is either going to have to try to undercut this thing or work over top of the crosser. And then again, you have a guy like this in Calvin who is, 4.3 speed, a dude who really runs extremely well on these deep crossers. We've touched on it in prior film rooms that I've done on the channel. I've tweeted it out a lot on Twitter, but Calvin is beating man coverage on these like deep crossers. It's one of the things that I think he's doing extremely well right now. And this is just setting your players up, for success and asking them to do things that they're comfortable doing. Again, you can get one more look at it from the end zone angle right here. The timing of this play is fantastic. I think the pocket's fairly good. They don't necessarily pick up the looper extremely well. But again, Russ has plenty of time, and this thing is so open. You can almost throw this thing into open grass. The only thing you're worried about here is just don't miss him. But again, blocking downfield, nice job by Van. Another explosive playoff play action. You just look at the numbers, man. Russ's numbers off play action, the average depth of target, a lot further, a lot more successful than the offense has been through the first 6 weeks of the season. It's just fantastic. That's a big reason for their success. All right, one of the last plays of the game right here. Closing time. It's the nail in the coffin right here from Najee. This is a fantastic run, man. I wanted to talk through this thing really quickly. It doesn't necessarily matter in terms of, the game's out of touch at this point, but I just think the way that he is playing right now is about as well as I've seen him play in a Steelers uniform. And it's been really fun to watch him run the ball. He's typically a little bit of a slow starter to the season, but, he's really getting rolling here. And I think that, some special things could potentially be underway whenever they get healthy up front, get Zach Frazier back. But this is really good blocking too. This is just inside zone. Unfortunately, we do take an L at right tackle. Broderick Jones gets bulldozed off the line of scrimmage, but this is a fantastic cut from Harris to kind of cut this back. And you see like the linebacker right there at the second level, he's going to be unblocked because you can't get up to him. They've got too many guys on the line of scrimmage expecting a run. Jumps, little jump cut back, but just watch the blocking from the left guard, left tackle right here. Isaac Seumalo driving his guy off the ball, creating that vertical displacement. Really good job by Dan Moore. This is good vision from Harris, really just to try to run through, like I said, common color. Like right here, look at the leverage that we've got on the left side. I mean, that's a huge hole in this type of circumstance where, you're selling out for the run. It's just fantastic. Like I said, it's been a lot of fun to watch Najee run the ball. Obviously, he's having a lot of fun. The offense is putting up a lot of points. I really appreciate you guys watching the video. If you guys are interested in more film room content like this, be sure to check out the members section of the channel. There's a lot of deep dive type stuff in there that you will probably find fairly helpful. But I'm excited about going through some other stuff. I'm going to try to post another video this week before we get into Monday Night Football. But I really appreciate you guys' continued support. Just on your way out, please make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop me a comment to let me know what you all thought. Y'all have a good rest of your week. Peace and love.